What is peace? Where does peace come from? We run around so busy doing all kinds of things, and then when we finally sit still, we are still swirling in our hearts. And I've heard so many people say, I just don't have any peace. And I wonder why. What is peace? What does peace look like in your heart?
Peace look like in my heart?
To have peace in your heart, what does that mean?
To feel content.
To feel content? Where does that come from, peace in your heart?
God.
Really? The first time that I understood what peace was when I was 16 years old and I encountered God. And I recognized peace for the first time. I had tried to find peace in all kinds of things, and nothing ever came anywhere near close to what peace actually was in the presence of God. And sometimes, peace has to come through a fight. And for me, that was absolutely the case. Right before I encountered this peace was the darkest, most chaotic, confusing time of my life. And thank God that my grandmother was willing to fight me in order to help me get to a healthy place. She was willing to stand up and say something, even though it was so confrontational and so hard. She fought for me, and I was able to survive when I would have had an early death at 16. She was able to fight for me to actually have a life of peace. And I didn't realize it was peace that I really wanted so badly. And it was the lack of peace that made me feel like I couldn't do it anymore. But to know that in the presence of God, there is the most amazing peace was revolutionary. So I sat down with my friend Brian and we talked about his relationship with his daughter, and he talks in this episode about how he had to fight with his daughter in order to get her to a place where she could actually heal. To get her to a place where she could heal took him sort of letting her go so that she would actually be able to heal on her own with God.
But it's funny because like 2 weeks before that, or the week before that, she was just like, I was like, Janaea, can you do this? She's like, no, I don't care. And I'd be so mad. I'd be like, oh, you don't know what's coming. Because that's what she needed.
Yeah.
But when the thing got there and she was like, and she looked like that little girl instead of that, it's like her heart, she's becoming a young woman. And so that the little girl's there, and then this new young woman's trying to come out. And so she instantly, like, I saw her as the little girl, and I was just like, oh man.
So many times tears are actually prayers when we don't know what to pray for. Tears are actually prayers, and it's so important that we let ourselves grieve when it's time to grieve. It's important that we don't waste our pain by trying to run from it or trying to ignore it. That we don't waste that pain, but we press into it so that we can figure out what's going wrong and actually heal, so that we can be transformed in the moment and actually come away with some greater sense of perseverance or revelation of wisdom or love. Because love, like we said before, it can be painful, but we have to be sure and not waste our pain. Many times when we suffer for doing good and we find ourselves bringing our pain to God, we'll see that He grieves with us. He grieves with us, and that's a beautiful moment to just cry in God's arms and know that He cries with us over our suffering for good. Peace is from God. So the only way to have peace is on God's terms. We can't keep barreling towards destruction and expect ourselves to have a peaceful soul. We will find ourselves in turmoil within and without as we barrel towards destruction, because we are actually ignoring our souls and allowing them to wither inside. It does hurt to heal sometimes. Pain is not the enemy of health, but many times it's the pathway to it. And this is the path that Jesus took in order to heal us. And sometimes, in order to love the ones around us, when it's difficult, we have to take that same path, take up our cross, and follow Jesus in order to really love the ones that we're sent to love.
And then, literally, like, we went upstairs, I had to sign the paperwork, and then I was walking out, and she was trying to talk to me, the lady Tiffany from the school, and she's like, so yeah, it went well, and it's hard, but are you okay? And I was just like, I couldn't talk. All I said, I was just like, and then I finally got out. I was like, I gotta go. And that's all I could say. And she goes, okay, just, call me later. And I just shut the door, backed up, and drove for an hour and a half, I believe, or 2 hours. I think I went to Chicago. Either Indianapolis or Chicago. It was either 1 or 2 hours, but I drove down this one road, and it was like just straight. And all I could see was overcast, dark clouds, rain sprinkling down, and it was like, it wasn't like, pew, pew, it was just like, and I was just silent, and the water was coming out of my eyes. I was just silent. I couldn't talk, I couldn't pray, I couldn't do nothing. And when I got home, I just sat down in my dark house, and I was just like, whoa, that was the most brutal thing ever. And then within a few days, I started getting good reports. Even that same day, I got like, they text me and they said, like, her hair was green. And at the program where they have to have their normal hair color, because they have to find the beauty, their natural beauty, instead of covering up. And so they sent me photos of her at the salon, like within that first day. And she's like, you could see her face all puffy, and she's trying to smile. She's like, and her eyes are all puffy. So I got like encouragement along the way. But yeah, that day was brutal though. Wow.
I just think, like, something I'm learning in marriage too, that it's not when everything's going great that I know that Josh loves me. It's when things are going bad and he's still pursuing me and not giving up on me, and he's not letting, I don't know, it's just interesting, like, that's the same thing with him being a dad. I don't think of him as the greatest dad whenever he's just having fun with the kids all the time, but when he's like, when my son's heart goes in the wrong direction and he corrects him and he does it with love, and then he watches for it to turn the right way, and he say, and then encourages him, because like that to me is what we need. We have friends but we only have one dad. And that one of the things when I was writing the song The Mystery, which I'm not sure we're going to use this for the piece or not, but when I wrote the song The Mystery, I was thinking about how an unloved woman who gets a husband, that verse is like, how do I understand how a man loves a woman if I've never seen a father love me, or a husband love my mother, or I just to feel unloved, and then to have somebody love you, you're always suspicious of their motives. Yeah, you're always wondering like why they're doing things the way that they're doing them, or like an example would be Josh doesn't think we should spend money on something, and my brain goes, well, if you weren't married, you wouldn't have to spend any money. And he's like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? My brain is thinking that way. Yeah. But he's like, the only reason I say that is because I care about our marriage, and I want us to make wise decisions, and I want to take care of us. Right. So it's the complete opposite of where my brain goes, because an unloved woman can't receive love. She assumes it's something different. Yeah. And so I just think about,
I got all kinds of those.
Yeah.
Or I'm just, Yeah, or I'm thinking a totally wrong thing, and I figure that out later. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, imagine with Janaea, that her mother not being around was probably a big hurtful thing,
Yeah.
you know, for her when she
Yeah.
got to around this age too.
Yeah.
And
That was
like,
massive.
and so for her to receive you still, you know, was probably hard. She
Mhm.
probably was like, how come I don't have my mom too? You know.
Just broken. Yeah. Just broken pieces that need to get touched.
What is peace?
What is peace?
Well, how would you describe what peace is? Where does it come from?
What is peace? I don't know how to describe that.
It's a hard thing to describe, right?
It is very hard.
Is it something that you just feel or just know, but it's hard to describe?
I don't know.
Martin Luther King Jr. said that there is a kind of peace called a cold peace that people will settle for sometimes, which is really no peace at all. It's the kind of peace that comes when we don't shake the boat, when we don't confront things, when we just try to make everybody happy, which is impossible to do. True peace requires confrontation with true love, and that can feel like the opposite of peace at first. So, Father, I pray that you would bless us to see anywhere that's left inside our hearts that doesn't want to face things that need to be faced in order to really love. Show us wherever we have accepted a cold kind of peace that has no love in it. Help us, Lord, to truly love, no matter what it means, the way that you did for us. You took a path of pain in order to bring healing to our hearts because you loved us. So Lord, if there's a path that we need to take, even if it's painful, in order to love those around us, Lord, let us be brave, because you said perfect love casts out all fear. So let us be brave and fearless and love, truly love like you do, reflecting your love back to the world around us.